Alright, I think we should be rocking. Hi everybody. I hope people are having a good day. I've had a very busy weekend. Like a really busy weekend. And, but I've been getting a lot of stuff done. Working on, I am 2 hours away from finishing a really big commission, and I'm really happy about that. It's important to me to have this one finished before I finish the other ones. And so, you know, this is for one of my biggest supporters, and I'm very appreciative. So, yeah, that's what we're doing this weekend. Solid weekend of that. Family day yesterday. Spent some time with everybody coming in, different times, lots of everybody's. You know, we got all kinds of people jumping in. Miriam's here. Hi, Miriam. Linda's here. Hi, Linda. Okay, I got some fun in the sun to show you. So let's jump right into it. I've got, there's a new album that's up, and it's by somebody that many of the people here know under the name Rick Murphy, and it's silly fun, but check it out. It's a lot of fun. I put the link up in the chat today, so you should be able to link off of that and give it a go. Great fun. Today's page was suggested by Mariah, and it was, looks for the words written down, the Twilight Zone gets taken over by unicorns and rainbows. There we go. So, I got a little bit of Rod Serling going on there, and Mariah asked that it stars Patricia. So it does. And I tried to capture Patricia's, now we're getting silly. So, you know, hopefully it's all in good fun. So, yeah, this was a lot of fun, this page to do. I drew it in cardstock, heavy blue cardstock. Hold on, I'll get it. And for the first part, and so there's the heavy blue cardstock that I worked on, and I drew on it in white pencil and white ink, and then the last couple of colored images I did in watercolor. So, and I put those together, and there's our page. So, this was a good piece of fun. I like the idea of the contrast of the two, and of course I incorporated a beautiful rainbow. A beautiful rainbow. So there we go. Oh, Mariah's joined us. Hi, Mariah. There's your page. So, yeah, so I've been away for a couple of days, and just seriously finishing some larger paintings, of which I can show you soon. Behind me, let me show you something here. Here's a little bit of a show. This is a 5 foot by, it's a 4 foot by 6 foot drawing of white pencil on boards, big old board that's been painted blue and has all kinds of surface papers on it. And then after I drew the whole thing on in the white, I came in with a black pencil. It's really far away from a camera. So, okay. All right, so that's just an extra show. Extra bit of this thing we call a shoe. So, what else have I got to show you? I got stuff. I got stuff to show you folks. Exciting stuff. All right, I'm going to switch cameras. Brace yourselves. It's a piece of paper. Okay, so here's some of the things that I picked up this weekend. I finally got a nice heavy gel that Mariah actually had suggested that I pick up. And I picked some up finally, and it hits all the buttons, and I'm really excited about it for creating structure. And as an adhesive, it dramatically increases viscosity, texture, and transparency. Good heavens. Retains high peaks and crisp marks. Doesn't yellow when dry. Translucent. Woohoo! So, I'm really excited to get that stuff incorporated into some of my pages. There's a couple of really great examples I could put forward for you to check out of that really being utilized in it. Well, actually, why don't I just show you? Hey kids, why don't I just show you? Where's my Struzen book? Yeah, there it is. Here's Drew Struzen's book. Signs of a Forest. This is his book called Oeuvre. And this is phenomenal. And one of the things that's so phenomenal about it is that, well, it's his oeuvre, so it's a lot of his work. I love a medium with drama. There we go. Okay, so now for those of you that don't know, Drew Struzen is Drew. Anyways, so he's the guy that's done all these movie posters back in the day when movie posters actually looked good. And let me see if I can find some good examples. He did so much stuff. Motorbikes. Anyways. Okay, here's a 20th Century Fox roll image. Look at the size of that sucker. Bingo bango bongo. Name says dinner. Okay, so here's one of his Star Wars pieces. Now, in said Star Wars piece, when you get up close to the surface of an image, let's see if I can pull it in with the other camera. Just brace yourself. Okay, so in here, there's these lines by the starship. Let's see if I got a closer one. Yeah, here we are. We got some bigger images at the back. So this is various mediums that he's using here. Here's a Snake Plissken image with some spattering techniques and some splashing techniques. So you can see how that works there. It's a bit of a glossy paper, I apologize. But all these movie posters by the same guy. So crazy. He did the Back to the Future pictures. He did the Star Wars posters. So much great stuff. Here's a Blade Runner. Now, this one's got, I got this with a post-it here so that you can see. He has that gel medium. Oh, there we go. Perfect example. See the around the timepiece? Let me see if I can do it without it washing out. You can't. Around the timepiece, there's these ripples right here. And the whole point of these ripples is it's actually this stuff that is spread out underneath the surface of the paint, so that he gets all of that that fantastic surface modification, and it looks like these ripples of water, which is boing. So, a couple other things to show you, really short and quick. This is a book I got, nice and thick, Reader's Digest. It's an illustrated history of Britain, and so it gives you 45 years worth of photos of a culture and all of the societal changes said culture went through. And so much key and interesting stuff, you know, that just right up into wartime. And it's just fantastic. I really enjoy this book. I love books like this that have old black and white photos of the past. They're a fantastic resource if you're looking for some inspirato. And you can't go wrong. Right? You just can't go wrong with something like that. Now, here's another gigantically thick book. This is the oh, I'm going to switch cameras. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'll show you this again. Portrait of an Era. Big and thick, right? But the Portrait of an Era book has so many great images, like so. Look at that. All right, let's take a second. Let's count the people together. 1, 2, I'll start at the bottom. 1, 2, better start in the corner. Hold on. This one. 1, 2, I think there's a person under the 8. 3, that looks like Lionel Richie. 4, 5, wait, I counted that guy. 1, start over again. Forget it, we'll do it later. Anyhow. So, that's some fun for you. This is The Blighted Eye. This is a fantastic book. No, this is the better one. Okay, so The Blighted Eye is the original comic art from the Glenn Bray collection. And the reason that I put this out, Mariah says this falls under dad jokes. I did chuckle. Anyways, this is the Glenn Bray collection, including all of the crazy stuff that this guy has been collecting for years. And this Glenn Bray has managed to collect a lot of the underground comics art scene. And so it starts with, you know, some of the early Disney guys. Whoops, oh look. There's some early Disney art pages for comics, and it goes right straight through to this. That's a Robert Williams cover, for one thing. And it strolls. Look at how thick this is, by the way. My friend Brom, that, you know, I worked at his shop for years, and he got me this. There's Big Daddy Toth pieces. There's Dan Close pieces. There's Robert Williams pieces. There is some fold-out pieces in here, and I'm trying to figure out how to get it out without it. This is a gatefold that's 12 sheets across that it's on right now. Anyhow, I don't want to pull it out because then I'll have to figure out how to put it back in. But it's such an amazing pile of work. EC Comics art, original photos of meeting all these guys. There's a Hitchcock illustration. You know, there's Hernandez, Bros Hernandez, Jaime Hernandez, amazing artists. Just such an incredible book. I'm going to give you the ISBN to look this up, okay? It's 9781606996959. And if you're looking for something that is just the crazy alternative viewpoint of art, rather than the standard superhero, that is a great book. And one more to show you. I picked this up years ago. This is The World of Steve Ditko. And Steve Ditko is the guy that created Spider-Man. So amongst, he created The Question. He created, he did Blue Beetle and the Mad Mod Squad. He did Captain Atom. So many characters were created by this artist. And this is when I talk about an artist that was an objectivist, where he believed was black is black and white is white. You don't become an ex-convict. Once you've been convicted of crime, you're always a convict. It's the philosophies of Ayn Rand. And so he would take his original art of Spider-Man, and he would lay it underneath new pages that he's working on, and use those sheets as cutting boards and inking boards. So if he splashed ink on the original art and cut them up, he didn't care, because in his mind, what people are buying is the product of the art, the printed book, which is crazy. Hey Jim, I told everybody to check out this cool new album by Rick Murphy. Welcome aboard. I gave him the link. I think you should check it out, Jim. It's really good. So this is all Steve Ditko's career, and just a fantastic overview. Lots of black and white. There's Captain Atom. So much great work, but just I can't get over the body of work and the impact that he had on the comic industry. There's the Spider-Man. There you go. So, but such a body of work. Shade the Changing Man, I forgot that was his too. In fact, he's one of those creators that the more you think about it, the more guys he created. He created one of the Starmans, he created the Creeper. Look at that. Crazy trippy stuff. There's the Question. Yeah, such great work. Anyways, that's The World of Steve Ditko. The ISBN for this guy is 978-156-097-9210. Alrighty, I think. Yep, that's it. That's the whole show. Oh, art supplies. So I got the modeling medium. I got some of that. Okay. Now, I also picked up a couple of these bad boys. Well, I'm missing stuff. I'm so sorry. Hello, Jim. My friend Javier Hernandez went to the Ditko Museum and did some work for them. Man, he's a huge Steve Ditko guy. Rick Murphy knew Steve Ditko. That's awesome. Rick Murphy. It's a fun album, man. Okay, so I picked up some new inks. They're light, fast, and waterproof, folks. Important stuff when you're drawing with ink. I also got... I'm trying out this new paint called Cheap. So I got myself... They didn't have a blue, like a decent blue. And I got a pearl white, which was a nice little glossy, shiny bit of business. Rather than using metallic paints, I would sooner blend colors and do a quick glaze over it with like a pearl white, because that brings a lustrousness to the value. It also tones it down. No mistake about it. It also lightens those values. So if you're looking for deep resonance, put the pearl white in the mix. Pearl white's great. So anyways, it's a new brand of paint that I just discovered. And then, I got some green for the hookers. No, I'm sorry. It's called Hooker's Green. And then I got myself another oil-based white Sharpie pen. Because I've killed 3 paint markers, finishing this large commission. So I picked up a white one, thankfully. Anyways, I cleaned up on this local store that's selling off all their Prismacolors, and so I got the white and black that they had left out. Because Prismacolor white and black pencils are easily the loveliest ones. Miriam says, I made a mistake. Enter upcoming Williams Day stream. So I have my first like. Hi, Miriam. Excellent. Well, somebody's there. That's good. Yeah, well, we're all set up for tomorrow. And then, of course, I'll meet with M&P before we get started and figure out some stuff. But I'm really looking forward to it. I know that... Pete will be working in camera rather than having her face in camera. I think Em, you might as well. I think it might be fun. We have a lot of fun for folks to join in. There's some ideas of what we could do beforehand. So, Miriam says more than 3 pencils this time. Oh yeah, I got a box of them. So, anyhow. Yeah, so just it was a good weekend. I picked up some stuff I needed. I also bought other colors than those cheap ones. I bought I needed more Prussian blue, more raw umber, because that's the 2 principal values of this composition that I'm working on and finishing off. But those are on the other side of the room as I'm finishing off that composition. And it's fun when you see a new paint. And not only is the name cheap, great paint, great price, excellent value, but they were cheap. So try them out. Why not try them out? And they got a bird on them. Get it? Cheap. Anyways. So I've got today's page laid out. Now, I had said last week that I was going to finish the page for Mariah, which I was going to probably stretch it out to a few pages. I have so many ideas of where I could possibly take that story that I had to just restrain myself and give it sort of a tuck point off the first page, because the second and third and fourth page layouts that I was scribbling together, a number of different ones for each page, by the way, was over the top crazy, and in a good way, and a lot of fun. I was trying to incorporate a number of different characters from Twilight Zone episodes, and I even had at one point William Shatner going, "Well, hold on," like this. "There's a goblin on the wing. There's a goblin on the wing." And I just kept having poor Patricia going, "This is silly. Okay, this is about enough." And I just realized the joke hits off the front, the first time you throw it out, the joke hits of, okay, now we're starting to get silly. As soon as the shiny unicorns and rainbows are entered in, and that's the suggestion. So as far as it goes for fulfilling the suggestion, I think the page did. I'll pop it up once more just so that. So I think it hits the suggestion, and the rest of it is just Christopher going off, And I never had an opportunity to sit down other than roughing it out in one of my sketchbooks. I don't know where that one. I've got 5. I don't know where that one is. But rather than finishing off on the 4-page short, I went for the key elements in that first page. But it's definitely something I'd come back to. But I just don't want to have Patricia going over and over again. Silly. Okay, this is ridiculous. And just draw her getting annoyed. So, who we got? Der Kaiser. Hello. Welcome aboard. Just call me Kaiser. Hello. Welcome aboard, Kaiser. That's a mix of cheap and sheep. There you go. There you go, Miriam. So that's where that has left off so far. Now, I had talked about doing the suggestion from Patricia today of a conversation between Jesus and Buddha. But I haven't had a chance to chat with Patricia this weekend because it was family day and I've been, really hopping. So that's going to hold on till tomorrow, I think. So brace yourselves and bear with me, folks. So we've got a page here. Now, I've got another suggestion that I put up at the start of the chat today. And for those of you, if it's your first time or if you're you're not sure what I do here, what happens is people suggest ideas, and I take whatever that suggestion is, or whatever that random sentence is, or in this case, the suggestion is from Delbert S. Yep, I'm not going to say their last name. I never say people's last names because that's not fair. And that's Bart conducting a train ride. Okay, so we're drawing trains, folks. So thank you for that suggestion, Delbert. Now, tomorrow, I think that we'll be doing the page of a conversation between Jesus and Buddha. Well, I'll be starting that at least. While P and M are going to be joining me tomorrow for a fun chat about the making of things. So, brace yourselves. This is one of the mixed media pages that I made last week, 11 by 17. It's got tissue paper in here with I think it's a brayered on acrylic on top of it. That is a piece of black cardstock in the surface, so it's a little thicker there than everywhere else. Here is a part of the instructions for how to assemble my brand new stool that I'm sitting on right now, my new desk stool. So, which raises me up to be nice and high up, because that doesn't happen when you're tall. Usually I end up sitting on the floor with my knees up under my chin. So, all right, Gary's joined us. How you doing, Gary? And Kaiser says, you did draw the comic page. I like the style. So, well, thank you, Kaiser. It's very nice of you. If you go to my Instagram page or my Facebook page, you can see all of the posts, all of the pages that I've done in the last year. And since around January 15th of last year, I'm at 400 and something now. Good heavens. I'm out of control. So, yeah, lots of fun. And if you have ideas to suggest yourself, please do. Mr. Gary Hodges has joined us. Welcome, Gary. Great to see you. Okay, so, here we go. Today's page. Bart conducting a train ride. So, we're clearly going to put a train down. But, we could introduce Bart. I mean, we could start with that. Okay, so anyways, the page, before I forget, the Patreon has the original art on as well as the finished pages. And if you want to put a suggestion, you're welcome to do so in the chat. I have a nice, shiny little new book for suggestions that I've started writing suggestions in. rather than the hodgepodge pile of notes that are shoved into a sketchbook. And this way I can carry it on me at all times. And yeah, so always feel free to put suggestions in the chat. If you're watching the video after the fact, you can put them in the comments. And if you're checking out the Instagram or the Facebook, you're always welcome to put them in comments on the post that I put there. So, and then I'll write them in the book, and I will do them. My mother suggested something today. That's a first for me. So, you know, that's great. She said, do your most embarrassing moment. No. To that time that this happened, and she put it up publicly for everybody. She didn't write that, but that would be far off. So, okay, so I've got this page. I've got these different pieces of paper and stuff on there. The reason that I do that is I like modifying the surface. You don't have to worry about getting started on a drawing when it's already in process, when you've already got a bunch of tickety-tack on the surface. So, that mindset, I never have to worry about any anxiety about making a mess of things. I've already done it. So, a chicken eating KFC. All right, goes in the book. See, I can just take the book right now. It's always with me, instead of writing it on Post-it and having to transfer it. I'll do it with one of my saucy fountain pen. Came with this saucy book. A chicken eating KFC. And that is from Der Kaiser. Jawohl. Okay, excellent. Thank you. That's in the book. Great stuff. Appreciate that. Anybody else has any? Feel free to throw them at me at any old time. I'm always good. So I've got this here. I've got some watercolor paint here. Color we want. Why don't I draw in red? You can see red. Carrie's back in town. Just when you thought it was safe to go to the store and get some milk, Gary Hodges is back in town. I don't want anybody getting milk in these parts, says Gary. 2 thumbs up, says Robert Ebert. Anyways, I go off on tangents. I'm excited for tomorrow. Largely because they're far more professional than I am. And it's going to be nice to have 2 cool cats to chat with some art about. To chat about some art with. You know what I meant. Alright, so let's put a silly Billy Bart down. And so I like to take a turn on an idea. So when an idea comes forward about Bart is conducting a train ride, well, there's a couple of ways I can process that. I can introduce it as a serious piece about locomotives and the history therein, or I can make a play on a character named Bart. I think they meant Bart Simpson. Now, I don't do licensed guys, but we're going to make a play on Bart Simpson. How's that sound? I put a link at the top. If you're an adult who likes silly fun, good fun stuff, check out Rick Murphy's new album. I put the link in there. And I learned today that Rick Murphy knew Steve Ditko. So, you know. What do we got? Der Kaiser says, at which age did you start drawing? Well, if you want a horrifying story from my mother, I guess it was a baby. But I think that I have always have. Marguerite says Brad Simpleton. Drawing is something that we all do at a young age, and it's something that unfortunately we lose. Society and life in general always just sort of says, hey, do these other things, learn these other things, focus on those instead. And creativity and self-expression goes by the wayside. Well, I'm a big advocate of maintaining some of that creative expression, because I think that we're losing a lot of the sort of ingenuity that we need for cool new things. And what I mean by cool new things is new modes of thinking, new progressive ideas for us to create those electric sidewalk, everybody traveling between different floors in pneumatic tube kind of futures. And it could happen. I've always drawn. For me, it was an escape from less than joyful moments. But sticking with it and developing it a little bit further so that you can pursue it in ways that you want to for self-expression is I think is where we switch it up, is where we change up how we go about how we go about our drawing, how we go about our approaches to it. And there's so many people out there that are incredibly talented at really young ages and have developed this really great facility for it. That's I think that I've sort of just plugged at it for years, and over time finally found my voice. But I think it took me a while, because I am old as dirt now. So one of the things that's going to happen here is that as I sit down and start putting some of the watercolor down into this image, what's going to happen is, in instances like this where there's gesso, there's a blue rolled on acrylic here, there's some gesso there, there's a matte medium right here separating this blue pigment from the surface. There's all kinds of fun things that are happening. And if I go over with watercolor wash, you're going to see some interesting processes happen where the pigment's going to separate. I like that. That's fun. So we'll play with this a little bit. We'll do it together. It's 2 o'clock tomorrow, 2 p.m. EST, 1 p.m. CST, I believe. P and M from PM Artist Studio will be joining the stream in the chat. If you are interested, if you're creative and you're interested in joining the chat or join the stream for a chat about creativity and your journey, please let me know. We've got a few people lined up for coming in and joining, and always welcome to support and encourage more folks. Am I missing stuff? Domer Simpleton is my favorite character. Is that right? Is that right? That's cool. I don't know if I have a specific favorite one. I was really excited last week when I found a copy of the complete collected Sherlock Holmes stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and it was the same printing as the one that I had as a child. So I have been reading a little bit of Sherlock Holmes, in all my spare time. I read fast. I have to. Anyways, so I've been enjoying that. But favorite character? I wouldn't say. If you get a chance, check out the 1985 version of Sherlock Holmes by Jeremy Brett. I think his name is Jeremy Brett. That, in my head, was possibly the best adaptation of it. Just because it was so rooted in the actual literature. So we're getting our first guy in here. Thought I'd draw in a smug goofball. We're going to give him some silly hair, reminiscent of a certain somebody. But I'm not going to paint him in yellow. So I thought I'd put up a smarmy faced Shaw, kind of an expression to start off with. I never read Sherlock, but I have 3 manga adaptations of Sherlock. Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah. You know, there's some pretty great sequential adaptations of different pieces of literature. I have a really wonderful adaptation here. Here is a copy of the Odyssey by Homer, and it's adapted textually by Roy Thomas, longtime editor of Marvel, and illustrated by Greg Tocchini. Now, Greg Tocchini is an absolutely wonderful illustrator, and his interpretation of the Odyssey is just like that's the sirens. I've shown people Greg Tocchini's work before. He's got the comic with Rick Remender that Rick Remender wrote it and Greg Tocchini illustrated. A really amazing book called Low, which is a sci-fi piece set in the future about mankind living under the oceans because our sun has gone through a massive flare period. So anyways, fantastic storyteller, but it's actually all of the Odyssey, which is actually a really dense piece of material. All right, so here's our face. I'll put some color down on that in a second. Stacy has joined us. Hi, Stacy. Welcome aboard. A manga adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft. Oh, that's fun. Manga. I don't have any Lovecraft. It's not to say that I don't like it. I've got some fantastic material that's clearly heavily influenced by Lovecraft's work, but Lovecraft himself per se, I have none. One of my sons does. He enjoys it immensely. He's got that at his own house. Okay, so we'll give this kid some spiked up hair, and I'll put some color to this so it should pull him into view a little more clearly. I'm going to move to the other camera, and just so that we're a little closer in, it makes it a little bit easier, but I wanted you to get an idea for the level of the size of the page. So there's some, ideally you're able to see them. I think you can, but there is some really fun textures and things like that in here in the different papers that I have embedded in the surface. So there should be some interesting stuff that comes from that. And as we incorporate these different elements into the back of the composition, there should be some fun things that happens with the watercolor as I place it down. So, but I've got a brush, and I've got the motivation. Anyways, I have a collection of all I got a collection of all H.P. Lovecraft books on my birthday. Oh my. Yeah, he was an interesting writer. It's good. That's good stuff. I hope you're reading them all. Whoever it is that you enjoy the writing of, read it. Pursue it. Just want to check something here. Yeah, I'm just making sure that I'm on 1080. Just had to confirm that. Okay, so I've got a light flesh tone I'm putting in. Now, realizing that there is an undervalue of the blue acrylic, and I appreciate and understand that between that and the red pencil that I'm going over, it is going to change the value of the color that I'm putting down some. We'll deal with that in a minute. So there we go. We've got a light coat there. I've got a light yellow that, you know what, I'm going to put a really, like a canary yellow here into his hair, which is really light. We're going to build this up. And I would rather start light and work my way up to some of the values that I want than I would start too dark. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying hi to Stacy. I've been addressing Stacy as Stacy May, and I apologize if you know, you would sooner I said Stacy. All right, so we're gonna find a light complementary tone to. Oh, you know what I should be doing? I should be doing like a drab dungaree kind of a color for his shirt. So, boxing that off so I can put that within a narrative frame. All right. Yeah, that dries quick, eh? Beauty. Good job drying fast there, pal. Either one works, no problem, says Stacy. Okay, fantastic. See, I'm a Christopher, right? And people call me Chris all the time. I don't care. But in our household, I'm a Christopher, and our youngest is a Chris. So that poor fella doesn't get called Little Chris. I'm just popping in a little bit of white in the eyes. Now, I realize that I'm coming in fast upon, but that's okay. So there's my version of Bart. I think it relates to him. Are you going to be any more? Oh, you're much more agreeable. So the Sharpie, okay, white, this is an oil base. There we go. So hopefully that's coming through there for you. I call you Chris only when Chris is not in the chat. Oh, there you go. Yeah, either one's fine by me. Just don't call me late for supper. Anyways. So I'll put the marks down and then I'll diffuse them a little bit with my fingertip, which leaves me with a lovely white fingertip. But Lori is quite used to checking my hands before we go anyplace nice. If anybody's working on anything cool that they would like to share with others, please do. You're always welcome to do so. I'm all about encouraging and supporting others' creativity. If you've got cool projects is what I'm referring to. Jim, who was in here earlier, is working on completing his full-length animated film. Gary is working up I'm just filling it in for some people at this point. Gary is working on the script for his 4th book of DPSM, and if you get an opportunity, folks, please check out both of their work. Miriam is Miriam is decorating a bus, I believe. I haven't had a chance to watch the video yet, but I'm like, that looks cool. I gotta watch that. Okay, so there's our Bart kid, and I'm gonna come in. So this is why I'm not overly concerned about when I'm putting different papers and things into the surface, because I like what they offer me in the overall composition by just giving it a little bit more interesting shapes and movement to pull things around. So I like to work mixed media, whatever I'm doing, but I also like to modify that surface as well. So here we go. Here's our first. Let's give this kid a shoulder. What shall we? All right. Let's see how we doing. I had my second painting session of the first paint for this year exhibition. I'm very pleased how it goes. I can't show it anyway, but you can take my word for it. Excellent. Cardboard organizer for my papers too. And Jim says I'm lurking while floating around. All right, so I'm going to come in and put a couple of little interesting values through here. So if you're using a source image, I say this. How I go about doing it is that I'll have some thumbnails. I'll pull up type in a thing, train. I'll pull up some thumbnails and work from the thumbnails and not blow those images up. It tends to abstract the shape, it into shape language, the images that I'm utilizing, makes me have to work with my imagination, and forces me to think a little bit more on what it is that I'm working on. I encourage people that too, but if it's too challenging, give yourself a break and blow the picture up. There's nobody that gets to tell you that's cheating or any other nonsense. You say, hey, eyes on your own paper, pal. So I'm just putting in some different values into his face. Give him a little bit of dimension. I know that this is a different way of working with the whole monkeyed up surface and hodgepodgey way of applying values, but I like it. It works for me. And at the end of the day, my good friends, that is what is important. So this is just an 11 by 17 bond type paper, the same type of paper as you've got for your printer pages, just larger. That because I've monkeyed with the surface of it, it's given me a little bit more something to work on. Not too much more. So you got to be conscious of how much water you're putting in areas and things like that, because it will buckle. But using the matte medium and the rolling on whatever acrylic value I have, sort of works like a primer. Okay, we got something there. I'll hold it up just so it's a little bit easier to gawk at. There you go. A saucy crow was sitting on my side mirror. I had to take lots of pictures until he left. That's pretty awesome, Marguerite. That is pretty awesome. Okay, I'm going to let this guy draw. Or dry. Draw. I'm going to let him draw. Go ahead, kid. Do some drag. Alright, I've got a green Prismacolor pencil that I just picked up. That's what we'll use next. What kind of train am I using, folks? What kind of train is he conducting? Does anybody have any preferences? New train, old train. Doo-dah, new train, old. This, by the way, is what my wife calls my game show jacket. Alright, what do we got? Old. Stacy has decided we're going for old. Okay, so, yeah, let's just do it. I've got a couple of different pieces that I've done large train compositions in before, and I kind of, I like drawing trains, but they're ridiculously complex things. But they can be. It's not going to show up. So let's just go right to, this is a Faber-Castell pencils that I'm using here, folks. They're nice because they're pretty. And let's just start using this. So but I like drawing trains. I like drawing complex things. It's just shapes. It's just shapes. And once that sort of epiphany hit me, ow, I don't know, my headspace completely changed about anything that I had before me, assignment wise. And whatever way that you can find some liberation, oops, I'm sorry, I'm on a front panel. Whatever way that you can find some liberation like that for whatever it is that you've objectively got to do in front of you. If you can just tap into something, if you can just get some kind of association in of, this is easier because you can only do yourself benefit. So I've got my thumbnails up here. I'll show you just because I know some of you like to know. It's going to wash out for a second, and I apologize. But this is, hold on, I turned it around. There we go. So this is the size of the thumbnails that I use. And that's the thumbnail I'm working from right there. Okay? So any complexity of information is either from the old imagination or, you know, made up period, or you know, you could something that you can freely see. But when you've got those people that look at your drawings and go, actually the steam top on that locomotive is a lot more narrow. you say, well, this is a drawing of it and not the real thing. I'd like your hair. Touch them on the shoulder gently. Nod, and then leave them alone. That's how you deal with art critics, folks. That's how I do it. That or I go, shh, 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 no, shh, shh, like that. That's not how I do it. I never shush people. I do this. Yo. What am I missing? Whole bunch of stuff. Uh-oh. I saw a crow on top of the bus stop electronic sign. Then I saw him fly across the street to a tree with a paper on his beak. And from far I could see a bulge in a tree. Seems to be a nest in progress. Nice. Nice. Is it sort of a single dwelling unit that he's building, or does it look like something that could work as sort of a condominium for a few different people to reside in? Is it a one crow hotel? Or does it look like the kind of place that one could bring up some youngins? I had a great question for one of my grandkids this year, and that was do dogs and cats and other animals in other parts of the world speak whatever language they speak there? And that made me think for a minute. That made me stop for a moment. There's a place here in Ontario, Canada, where I am, Goderich, and if you get an opportunity, if you're up in this area, and you're in Goderich, Ontario, go to the Goderich Museum, because they have a actual locomotive engine within the museum. They built an old Victorian railroad center street, and where shops are on either side of the track, and there's a locomotive engine sitting right in there, and they got a tank outside. They got all kinds of just fantastic pieces in their collection. So it was a two-story building, so it must have twins around. Oh, there you go. Very believes it might be a two-floor crow's nest, and they may well have twins. So that's good stuff. That's important. And then Stacy says that's a good question. Yeah, kids hit you with the best questions. They really do. And the sad truth is, the sad reality is that we let go of those questions. It's us, it's not them. It's us that lets go of the cool questions, the cool thoughts, I don't know, do they? Like, I'm pretty sure my cat speaks Chinese. And because they never seem to understand at all what I'm telling them. And I have no idea how to grasp what they're saying. I don't think they're speaking in Chinese, but I think they're thinking in Chinese. Either way, I'm just going to say this. There's a barrier to our communication. You know what I mean? Okay, so at this point, I want to have some fun with my crazy train. It already doesn't look like a real train, but We're going to have some fun. I think I need something else up here, like a bell or some such. And there's your smokestack. And we'll have smoke billowing out of them in a minute. It would help if I actually used perspective pines or something at some point. Stacy says, no, that's cats. Yeah, my cats, they're just, yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. That's how they are. My eldest son at age 2 asked me how babies came to the world. I thought, you're too young for that, but if old enough, ask again. Only a half an hour later, an explanation. Only after half an hour, explanation magazines. And oh my gosh. Him repeating the question over and over. Finally, he said, but how do they come? Dressed or naked? Miriam. That's important. We don't want naked babies running around. At the very least, they could put some pants on. Alright, so I'm just putting some additional bits of fun information around here. We're making her sort of a steampunky kind of a train. That's alright. We'll get all of the train stuff down at the bottom in a second. But if people are going to try to figure out exactly what locomotive I've got here, I couldn't tell you anyways. I can barely see with the picture. Sign language is also different in different parts of the world. That's true. Why not also animal language? Oh, you got to figure. Sometimes police dogs learn German. Repeating the question over and over. Oh, got that. My brother was given a steam engine one year for Christmas. No wheels. Oh, that's kind of fun. Became a spaceship after that. Because that's what happens when you don't have the wheels on something. Now it flies. Those are the rules. Alright, I'm already changing the locomotive that I looked at in the thumbnail, because there are few things cooler on a train than this bit of business right here. That's the stuff I like. Now we gotta put some wheels on this bad boy. Miriam says there's an animal language. Please sit beside you and stay in that position watching you. Oh yeah? So here's a fun story for all the kids back home. I thought for years that my friend's family dog was named Hund. Now, for those in the know, pardon me, Hund is the German word for dog. So I spent, I was 16, 17 years old when and I was still calling that dog. Its name was Midnight. But the father, big old German guy, used to say, Hund, komm her, and the dog would come. So I thought the dog's name was Hund. But, you know, there you go. I have my moments. All the time. Alright, we're going to get fun with this in just a 2 seconds. I just want to really push this along here as it's, we're going to draw the next car, like so. I'm just going to draw this one at the back. Like so. And then this one's wheels, because we're going around a track. Pardon me. So here's our train moving through space, outer space. And we'll just reduce that language down. It's a passenger train, folks. It's going through a car wash. Okay. So I like to put a little bit of shape language in there. And when I refer to shape language, what I'm often talking about is just sometimes having something in our drawing, a nice little organic turn, a little organic movement. Like there's this implied circle here that I've got put down. So I often like doing that because it gives a sense of direction, a sense of movement. We can apply it so much with, you know, the different parts of our composition, but ideally we want to have something that allows our eye to move around, and more importantly, the viewer's eye to move around. So if I have smoke coming out of this sucker, and billowing off into the sky as it's pooling up here, I want to continue this notion of it so I'll build this up like this, but as the train has moved around this environment, I want to suggest that there was some of it over here as well that's now off and dissipating into the old windski. The wind. Now, if I wanted to get really gluttonous, for, you know, when it comes to the old punishment factor, I could try to draw this on top of a train trestle, but does anyone want that? Why not? Let's do it. We're all in this together, folks. Let's think about what is required for this to be on a train trestle. Underlying girder system, like so, but ties, right? A whole series of railroad ties. Sorry, I'm missing the chat. I apologize. Let me jump back in. The wheels of the train go round and round. As a German, I know that Hund means dog. There you go. One of my grandfathers was German, but the other had a Germanic last name. That's funny. Does the turn of the railroad make the wind change direction? Well, I'm just playing with the notion of it, really. Like, it's not that it's a strong wind, right? If it's a strong wind, then we have the push of the wind. And there's dissipation here. The real smoke is above it. Right? Either way, if we overthink our drawing, we're not going to get it done. So at a certain point, it just becomes put it down. Somebody's going to look at it with more of a critical analysis and say, actually, the wind wouldn't work that way. And that's entirely up to them. But as a storyteller, our principal interest isn't all of those factors. Our principal interest is to get the train down. Is this exactly the right lattice for the train? Who knows? So it's less about being concerned about all of those absolutely perfect elements and more concerned with, you know, getting the parts of it together so that we can get it all drawn in and on to the next step. I used to think too much like about stuff like that. I used to be, oh, okay, I gotta look up a specific thing, and I think I made myself a little bit crazy doing that. Like there's things you can do to figure out the turn of the frame so it looks like it wraps the corner, but that's just the thinking, you know, of how would this thing work? Because then I got to come in here and draw the whole ding dong thing again. And that's where, you know, if I'm overly specific about the exact shape of things and the exact making it sure that it's correct to the historical aspect of it, then I'll, you know, I'll spend all that time looking at it and making sure I've got blah blah blah. I'd rather just get to it. You know, you try to some extent to try to get it to look like a thing. But I'm not looking at a picture of a train trestle. I'm just making it up right now, and it's clearly not going to be correct because I've never drawn a train trestle before. Like, why is this X pattern so wide compared to the one above and below it? It doesn't make any sense. I think I blame it on the fact that Paul McCartney's playing in my ear right now. You got Marguerite singing Smoking the Water, Fire in the Sky. It's like tracing the position of the train through time. Oh, well, there we go. I like that. How you doing, Barbara? Welcome aboard. I like that. That's far more logical than my brain works, Miriam. I like that a lot. Okay, so I am going to come through here with a umber value, okay, and I'm going to run through this train, putting a bunch of umber down first. Doesn't mean it's going to be this color of a train, but it does mean that I'm going to build up some value at this. Is it, I got a question for everybody today. Here's a real deep, insightful one. Is it absolutely subconscious, or is it some sort of weird signal thing that when you listen to Paul McCartney, you go like this as you're listening? Anybody? No? Just me? Or does anybody else do this? Would anyone like to go get a cheeseburger? It's trademark Christopher Rogan. Thanks, Miriam. So this is a light umber that I'm putting down, and the reason that I'm using that is that before I want to put black down, okay, in an image, I want to try to build up a nice value in there with an umber and like a Prussian blue or a navy blue or a deep blue. Miriam says it's just me that does that. Oh, so does Barbara. Would anyone like to go get a cheeseburger? That's my favorite part of impressions is when somebody doesn't do an impression of the thing that the person has actually said, or would, like a proper quote of them. But I would prefer to see impressions of, the innocuous reality of a person, like just the, does anybody know where I put my socks? It's far more interesting to me in an impression than it is, actual lyrics of Paul McCartney or an interview quote or anything like that. Don't forget to pick up toilet paper at the store. Yep. Oh, you're all enjoying coming to this crazy stream. Oh my goodness. He's not bad at painting and drawing, but it's kind of crazy. There we go. I made a print of a horse running on the tracks. Oh, that's fantastic, Marguerite. My father has some watercolors on the subject. Cookie Wookie says, hello, I've been looking, but as a true Macca fan, I need to point out Paul McCartney is vegetarian. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. But does he still say, don't forget to pick up some toilet paper at the store? I'm sorry. What's a Macca? Oh, McCartney. I get it. I'm picking up. I'm getting it. It takes me a minute. There we go. All right. Give that a second. Yeah, I'll give it a second. I'm going wet and wet and wet at this point. Maybe little Eva do the locomotion with me. There you go. You can't offer him a steak. Okay, don't offer Paul McCartney a steak when you run into him, Miriam. I have a handicap of 30 bad dad jokes after all. Okay, all right. Are we tallying these? Because I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit that, I can feel it coming on. I need to start my day with a clipboard and a list. Okay, we got 30 bad dad jokes. We got 30 bad dad jokes today. Does that include things like, Pete's working? Does it beat those? Does it include those? All right. Boom, boom. Mary, that's a stake through my heart. Oh my. I made my own cyberpunk-based drawing now. Hey, there you go. Good stuff. Vegetarian toilet paper, Marguerite said. Oh my goodness, folks. There we go. So I've done a few different pieces with trains in them in the past. I haven't drawn a lot of them. So all I'm thinking about here, as I'm scribbling all over the surface here, is I'm thinking about the structure of the thing, and trying to define some of those shapes with values that'll move it around. Trying to make sure that I let it dry somewhat before I get too crazy in it. Hold that up. Was I off camera again? If I am, I'm so sorry. Let me pull this out because I'm going to do that because ridiculous. Okay, I apologize, everybody. All right, so you know what I got? I've got this new black Prismacolor and white Prismacolor pile of pencils that I just bought. So they're both going to let me have a little more fun. Nice thing about Prismacolors is that because they have the right kind of composition to them, they're really fantastic for working into an image. They really, you can get some nice crisp lines, some crisp value in there with them. And then, of course, if that's not enough, you can come in with something like a Posca or a Jelly, right? Here's a Jelly Roll pen. Put some definable shapes together here into your, that you might have lost a moment before, It's just all about shape language, right? Just the marks that we put down. Yeah, so whatever works for you. So this is cyan, which is similar to the acrylic that's worked through. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier, and I'll hold it up in a second. This is where, because there's matte medium down, as I go over with the watercolor, you'll see how it won't, if I'm just doing this viscous application of the watercolor, because it's not, I haven't gone over a couple times to really make sure that that pigment applies, it separates from where the matte medium is on the surface already and puts this kind of a cool texture into our sky. In this case, it's a sky, But It's just one of those little something extra, something interesting bits of information that we can get into a piece. What time are we at? An hour and a half. So as I come back in, put a couple more little wash layers on of the umber and the deep blue, it'll start to define some nice little charcoal values as I go. I could readily use a black. I could use a Singer value, but I like that it gives a little bit of depth to the tone because it's got the blues and the browns and it lets your eye go to work, right? Right. It's the things that we explore. It's the things that we play with along the way that sometimes, because we're enjoying the process, sometimes it introduces us to new directions, happy accidents. And it helps to build up what it is that we're working on. But we're never going to find those things out if we don't play. Alright, where are we at? Just making sure I'm caught up with everybody. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. This has been fun. I hope you're having fun. Before I forget, tomorrow, same bat time, same bat station, Mariah and Patricia will be coming to join me from P&M Artist Studios. We're going to talk art. We're going to talk about creativity. We're going to talk about our journeys, I think, and I put up a chat on the Makers page on Facebook from PMR Studio there about if anybody's got questions or anything that they want to ask or things that they wanted to know. You feel free to put those questions there, and we'll see what we can do with those. You know, what's your favorite disco song? You know, within reason, right? So I'm just going to play with some more colors here, and every now and then, because it's watercolor going over pencil crayon, you got to make sure you put some of your lines back in. But what I really need to do is let this thing dry so I can go back and put some more marks on top. So there we are so far for our page suggestion today, which was Bart conducting a train ride. So my notion for this page is to start off with the Bart character to sort of channel our old Simpson young man spirit. Yeah, so it wasn't my first train ride, you know, and to start off with that kind of an attitude for the narrative. And then we get immediately into him talking about going around the Big Bend and you know, and just playing with some of the ideas of leading the viewer's eye. My intention for the next panel down is to continue the next train across here and to use these train elements repetitively through the page to move your eye around the page. So, you know, it's just finding another avenue in order to carry the reader's eye through what it is that we're doing. So that's my notion so far here. How it goes and how I implement it, we'll see. But as usual, I'll be posting this for tomorrow. yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow very much. I hope everybody comes out and hangs out and has a moment. Again, I got questions. Please feel free to put them in the chat. And, it's going to be great. A couple very talented artists. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to chat about their process with them. The last person I had on to talk about this was Doug Rogers, a cartoonist here from London. I've had Chris Clouet on the stream. I've had Miriam on the stream. I've had Jim Luan on the stream. We've had a number of people. Tristan Damone, who's the graphic designer for the comic company that we started, and was instrumental in the graphic design of the first 73 books we've published. So it's fun getting together with different creatives, and it's fun having different artists talk about their process. So please feel free to join in and to engage in that. Love the train storyline. Thank you very much, Linda. It's nice of you. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Miriam. Bye for now. 1 p.m. CST tomorrow, 2 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. If you're in California, you are 3 hours before I am, so it's 11 a.m. Californian time. So it'll be fun. If you put your notification on for it, then it should tell you when it's going to happen. It should give you a half an hour warning beforehand. And yeah, looking forward to it. Stacy says, no volume on my phone. Sorry if I missed anything said to me. Oh, I haven't said anything recently, but I was cracking up with you earlier. Eastern will have a three-way. Chris, me, and you. Oh, well, there we go. We'll have to, around Easter, that's right. I'll be joining with Miriam and Chris at some point over the Easter weekend. Okay. Cookie says, enjoyed today. Thanks so much. Barbara says, great live. These are all very lovely compliments, guys. In Israel, it's 9 p.m. for the stream. Okay. I'm going to sign off for now. We'll be back tomorrow with our two great guests. And I look forward to that, and I look forward to any suggestions and ideas that people have that you want to give me in the comments for this video, because it's a little late in the chat now. Or you can put them on any of the posts that I have for any of the pages that I've already done, including the page that I posted today from the suggestion by Mariah of Twilight Zone, but it has unicorns and rainbows. So please feel free to put suggestions of your own in, and I look forward to taking on those challenges. But I'm going to sign off for now, folks, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye for now, everybody. Thanks again.